So, welcome back. First things first, before we get started, I would like to apologize for the potato chip quality mic from last video. I kind of turned up the settings a little too high, so there's that. And secondly, this is not some kind of like replacement for reviewing these items because I definitely want to talk about more of these items in depth, especially this one right here. For now, I just wanted to get my thoughts out there. Also, no Halloween video because procrastination is awesome. Alright, so first we have the minigun. What can I say about this thing? It's satisfying to use, it shoots a lot, it's a stock minigun. I'm gonna put this in A for a very good reason because the Tomislav exists. The Tomislav is just automatic S. It's basically better than the stock minigun in any, well, every conceivable way, basically, aside from, I don't know, maybe if you're playing on like Dust Bowl or Gold Rush, then it might be a good idea to use this thing. Even then, it's just a better idea to stick with this thing. Faster rev up is much better. Tighter spread means you do more consistent damage, and the silent rev means you can ambush people. Meager downside of 20% less firing speed doesn't really matter because, well, it's a minigun, it already shoots fast, so it's not really a big deal. The Natasha. This thing gets a lot of hate for some reason. Well, actually, not for some reason. If you're playing Scout, Pyro, Demo Knight, or Trolldier, then you're done playing the video game. But if you're any other class, it's just a minor annoyance at best. I don't really get why people despise this thing with a passion. It's really not that hard to deal with. Especially if you're playing like Sniper. So, even with a massive negative reputation, it's still a really good item. And I use it semi-consistently. The Brass Beast. Oh boy, I love this thing. Ever since I got my strange specialized kill streak Brass Beast a while back, I've been using this thing pretty consistently. And while I do think it's really fun to use, it's also really situational. It's really only worth using on defense, or if you have like a dedicated pocket medic on offense. So it's really hard to work with generally, so it's going in a B tier. Heal Long Heater. This thing is denoted as a garbage tier heavy melee. I mean, not heavy melee, minigun. Most people put it like here or here. But after Zesty Jesus made his video on it, comparing its performance to stock, it really is not as bad as people say it is. It's actually really, really good. On par with stock, based on the statistics and my personal experience playing the game. It's really, really good. Really deserves to be up there with stock. So yeah, onto the lunchbox. The sandwich. S tier. I mean, you heal 300 health for basically free, especially if you're working with health packs, and, because if you are at full health and your sandwich is in charge and you pick up a med pack, then you get your sandwich back, which means that if you play around like small health kits, then you just have basically infinite healing, which is crazy. But also, you can throw it out to your teammates for a medium health pack, which is really nice. The banana, also S tier. Remember what I said about free healing? About the sandwich? This thing is literally free healing. You don't even have to play around health packs. This thing's recharge rate is so fast that it is just free healing all the time. And you can still throw it to your medic to give them a health pack, although it is a small one, so the general consensus is that if you're playing with the medic, use a sandwich. If you're going solo, go with the banana, because the banana's healing is just so crazy. The chocolate bar. It really isn't that bad. Like, A tier. Seriously. Actually, yeah, it's more of an in-between A and B, if you ask me. But for now, I'll just put in A. Its healing isn't worthless, especially, again, if you play around health packs. This other thing also gives you more health from health packs. Increases your max health by 50 for 30 seconds. And can still be thrown out to your teammates for a small health pack, so there's that. But this thing is pretty worthless if you have a medic on you, and the extra 50 health is actually more impactful than people think, especially if you use it with the Natasha and the Brass Beast and their 20% damage resistance when below half health. That means that not only can you reach that health threshold at 175 health rather than 150, but it also means you can just survive a lot more than you would have. Like, you don't die from 3 meat shots, you don't die from 4 rockets, you don't die from 2 quick scopes. Way better than people give credit for. Oh god, the steak. Whew, the steak. This thing really isn't that bad. No, what I mean by that is that this thing is actually good for all the wrong reasons, right? It doesn't deserve to be up here or anything. It's still a very bottom tier item. It's really, really good in very specific scenarios. Like, if you're playing on 5 CP, then this thing is busted, because it just gives you free mobility without sacrificing your melee for another utility, like the Fist of Steel. So if you're playing on like 5 CP or like, I don't know, Bad Water, then this thing is actually really useful, especially since you can still throw it out to your teammates or medium health pack. So if you have like a medic to work with, then this thing works pretty well. But because it's so situational, and because its main function of, go punch people is bad, then this thing's a C tier item. Stock Fists, use literally any other melee, except for maybe this one. I'm still thinking about that though. Just don't use the fists, right? Use any other melee at all, because they're just better. The Gru, that's an S tier. They are absolutely fantastic. I mean, just mobility. Any type of mobility on heavy is crazy. Especially since this thing's downside is, you can work around this thing's downside. Not nearly to the same extent as before, but back then it used to be busted, so I'm fine with the nerf that it received. This thing is crazy. And even though I don't use it very often, it's very, very useful. Fist of Steel, again, another S tier. When you pull these things out, you give yourself an effective health of 500, which is more than you getting overhealed. That's 50 more health than if you were overhealed. And if you have a medic on you, then your effective health just increases even further. So this thing just allows you to tank an absurd amount of damage. And there's not a whole lot anyone can do. Even snipers, they can't really do anything about it. It's basically busted, and a lot of people have been calling for this thing to be nerfed slightly. Because this thing is just evil, how much damage you can tank. So yeah. KGB. Again, it's a chocolate bar situation of, I want to put it in between A and B. So I'm just gonna put it in A, because 5 seconds of crits is nuts. Especially on the highest DPS class in the game, you become a motherfucking laser beam if you get a kill with this thing. And it's best paired with like the Tommy Slav, because it's faster rev up. You know, the thing goes crazy, right? KGB, way better than people give it credit for. Holiday Punch. This thing stuffs supers. That is it. That is it. Automatic S tier. If there is a dedicated Uber counter, and if there's an item in the game or an ability that stuffs Ubers, it is basically just an automatic S tier. Like Air Blast is. Air Blast is just destroys Uber, and so does this thing. If you get a crits medic on you, you can just squander any Uber push you want. You know, sorry for the yawn. So that's it. Even if there aren't any Ubers, this thing is still just better than stock, because you can do random crits. You can do crits from behind, and when you crit someone, they laugh, which means that they're basically dead in any conceivable situation. So basically, your crits one-shot every class, regardless of their health, whereas the stock fists one-shot 7 out of the 9 classes. So why would you use the stock fist over this thing? These things, bear claws, not as bad as people give them credit for, but they're still pretty mid. You're not going to be holding them out for very long, because, well, they do so much damage. I mean, they're 5 health away from point blank meat shot damage. I mean, a point blank meat shot from the shotgun does 90 damage, and this thing does 85 per hit, and it heals you when you get a kill with it. And the 30% damage penalty doesn't really matter when you 2-shot most things. So, it's good. It's kind of mid. It's okay. The eviction notice. Better than stock, I'd say, because at least it can be used as a mobility tool, even if the GRU outclasses it in literally every conceivable situation you can imagine. These things, they're just better than stock simply based on that, because again, any mobility on heavy is always going to be super duper useful. So yeah, garbage weapon. It's not as garbage as these things. And so now we have the shotguns. Now, I intentionally left these for last, because I'm very passionate about the shotguns, because I love them. I think they're very, very useful and heavy. And hot take of the century that I'm going to elaborate later. I'm going to elaborate on later in another video. I think these are better than the sandwich in most situations. All of them. So that is my Uncle Dane Twitter hot take. Take me down in the comment section, right? So I'm not going to get into why I think they're so good, because again, I want to save that for another video. I'm going to be brief. The shotgun. The shotgun is an A tier item. Really, really good. However, the family business and the panic attack are just generally better. Again, it's like the stock minigun compared to the Tommy Slav. It's not bad. In fact, it's really good. It's just that, they're better. The panic attack. I love this weapon. Right? It is hands down my favorite weapon in the entire game. No questions asked. Like, it is just dopamine rush every time I use it. Especially when you hit those point blank, perfect 108 damage meat shots. It is ooh, a thing of beauty. And because it has consistent spread, that means that RBS won't fuck you over occasionally. And this thing is a faster switch speed, meaning that if you want to combo it with melees like the KGB or this thing, or even the fucking eviction notice, then you can. Just fantastic weapon for every class that can use it. And that's that's no different on heavy. So yeah, I love this thing. I'll put it right there. Just to make sure, I'm gonna put it right next to S on the top, just to make sure everyone knows I love this thing. By the way, none of these items are in any particular order, but I'm just gonna put that there. The family business. This is a pretty interesting item because, well, it was tailor-made for heavy. A lot of people say that this thing should be given to the other classes as an all-class weapon. I disagree. It wouldn't be bad on the other classes. It would just be the worst option on the other classes because, you know, the soldier and the pyro, they use their shotguns to finish someone off after deleting someone at the primary, and this thing has a damage penalty, meaning that finishing someone off is going to take longer, even with the faster switch speed. You need a single powerful blast rather than 3 mediocre shots. And on the engineer, you know, this thing was designed for sustained fights, but the engineer's health pool isn't designed for sustained fights. Again, he needs the power of a normal shotgun to deal with threats. But on heavy, where his health pool is designed for sustained fights, this thing is basically just a direct upgrade from stock in basically every situation. It has a higher DPS than stock consistently. Like, there aren't a lot of situations where you'd be better off with the stock shotgun. So it's just generally better than stock. So that's a S tier right there. So yeah, that's the heavy weapons tiered list. Looks pretty different from what most people's tiered lists would look like, but I wanted to get my thoughts out there, especially since the majority of my thoughts are pretty hipster and contrarian in nature. So yeah, expect a video on this lovely thing sometime in the future, and maybe this thing as well. So yeah, thank you for watching. What is this? What have I what have I started? Holy shit. What you looking at? What are you looking at, buddy?
Stand next to little